Hey, what's going on YouTube? Have another product here that I wanted to review and show you guys. This time it's the Wyze Pan camera, and here you have it here. And some of the features that I'd like to point out for this camera is that it's got a 1080p high definition video, and it's got a 120-degree wide angle lens. And then lastly, it's 100, I believe that says 110 degree per second quick rotation speed. So basically you get to adjust the pan speed, which is pretty neat. So why this camera? Why am I reviewing this camera? Well, first off, I was told by a person to have a look at it, and they asked, tell me what I thought about it. And so I said, yeah, I'll do it. I'm always into looking at gadgets here and there and buying them out and trying it and see what's out there compared to the mainstream. And when I say mainstream, I'm talking about like the big companies out there, like the Logitechs, the Nest, Rings, Arlos. So I picked two of these up, and I tested it out. I tested it for a full week now, and I feel that I can give somewhat of an opinion about this camera. First off, the pan camera, I believe on Amazon, is $36. And I also picked up the AC outlet wall mount. And I'm all about outlet mounts because of my layout here at in my house. I have outlets that are high up in the ceiling, and so it actually is perfect for cameras and even speakers. But for my use, I use cameras. So going back to the camera, I picked it up, gave it a shot, and my thoughts is wow, for $36, this is insane. This could possibly be the camera to beat the Nest and all the mainstream cameras out there. And I say that because the price of the camera for what you're getting, and then no cloud storage. This has the built-in slot for a mini SD card, which a lot of people like and want, just because cloud storage is very expensive. I mean, I'm paying cloud storage for all my Nest cameras. I pay about $240 a year, and that's just the very minimum basic plan that they now offer. So if granted, I'm able to pay for that, but some people can't, and they still want the ability to record. So, having the ability for this to have an SD slot, a mini SD slot, is great. And I'll show you the camera shortly. But the things that I like about this camera versus the Nest indoor camera that I have, and I'll preface indoor because they don't have outdoor version yet. Now, a lot of people have placed it outdoor, but time will tell how it'll hold against extreme cold and extreme heat, especially in my area. We get the two extremes of winter and summer. So I don't know if the lens will fog up in the winter or whatnot, and vice versa. So I say indoor because they only make indoors. The pan and their smaller variant, which doesn't pan. It's like half of this. Anyway, so I got the pan version because I like the ability, or I like the feature that allowed you to pan left and right and then up and down for the tilt. So I got it to replace this guy. So this is my indoor camera that I had before, and I had to modify this mount actually. As you can see, I cut it in boxes so that I can place the Nest outlet. Now the reason why I did that was and I'm going a little off tangent here, was because the outlet that I had that came with this, for some reason, within a week or two, the camera would just die, and I wouldn't know why. So reached out to the company, they sent me a whole new mount, and again, same thing. So which led me to believe, well, maybe it's just not the camera, because I also talked to Nest and complained that the camera died, and it turned out to be the outlet that this comes with. And so I had to modify the mount to accept the round outlet from Nest, and then I just epoxied it, and so it's permanently in there. And now with this outlet and the short cable that they came with the mount, this has been a solid setup. Now, nothing wrong with this setup. I like it. I even like the fact that, you know, I'm able to see all of my cameras in one app. And now with this, I have to switch to the Wyze app to see the indoor camera, and then I have to switch to the Nest app to see my outdoor camera. So the pluses and minuses, pros and cons. Anyway, so just wanted to show you what it replaced. And the other reason why I replaced this was because this doesn't pan and it's just static. While this does a good job, I wanted to be able to capture certain angles in the house. All right, so this camera, before I show you the camera itself and it being installed, what you can do with it, you can manually pan. You can set it so that it does a pan scan where it uses waypoints, and you can use the waypoints that it sets, or you can do custom waypoints, and I'll show you that in the app later. And then you could do also motion pan, I believe it's called. Anyways, you'll see it in the app, and what that does is the camera will view the angle that you set it to, but the moment it detects sound or motion, it'll move and detect and start recording the motion that it detected. So if that made any sense there. But you could also use in two combinations of the motion pan and then the pan scan. Let's see what else. The notifications for this camera is not quite there yet as the Nest, meaning if I leave the kitchen and then I come back, I very seldomly get the notification. Whereas if I was to walk in front of one of my Nest cameras, I'll instantly get the notification. And I believe it has something to do with the reset timing. So once it detects motion, I think it has like a couple of minutes before it resets and then sets another motion. So something to be aware of. So that's one thing. And then the other thing that I noticed is that on the Nest cameras, if I view live and then, for instance, I wanted to capture a snippet of a video and download it, I'm able to do it with the Nest. With this, I cannot. I'm not sure yet. I haven't figured it out if it's possible to do it through the app or if you have to actually remove the SD card, insert it into a computer, and then just get the image that way through a video app, for instance, like Final Cut Pro or something. Perhaps maybe that might be a software update that they can improve on. And then the other feature that this doesn't have that I like about the Nest cameras are home and away. So, for instance, if you have the pan scan and the motion scan set, and you're at home and while the camera's running, you constantly hear that motor turning and running, and it can get annoying. So the ability to have the home and away would be a nice feature. That way when you're home, the camera's off and you're not having to hear that motor just constantly turning. It's quiet, but you can hear it. I reached out to the company for that. They said that they would look into it. So hopefully they'll make an adjustment. There is a workaround though. If you use if this then that, which I've set up, you can do a perimeter or a location perimeter, and that took care of it. Basically, if I leave my location and it's a perimeter, the cameras will turn on and then start doing the scanning, and then when I return, it'll turn off. So it's worked out for me. So those are some of the gripes that I have with this camera. Now the pros. 1080p, which is all you really need for indoor. The price is the number one, and then the ability to scan. So pan. So take it for what it is. Anyways, let me show you the camera itself, and then we'll show you the app. Okay. So here's the camera, and you can see that I have the outlet up high on that wall, which actually worked out for me when I purchased this house. And you can see the mount that I had showed you earlier, how that works. And basically just mounts on one of the outlets, and then the camera mounts just like as if it was a tripod, and then you tighten it with the little wing nut type screw on top, and then the camera just sits upside down. And what you can do is just have the app flip the camera 180, and it just works the same. So here I have the camera, and right now it's pointing to the center of the kitchen, and if I move left, and I'm doing this through the app, you can see that I can just rotate the camera, and it's got a good rotation. I mean, it'll go all the way almost 360, and then it stops. So I mean, it's got ridiculous panning capability. So we'll go back to this location here. Now you're not going to be able to tell, but it also does up and down, and what moves up and down is the lens on the black area. And I'm not sure if it's picking it up there, but you can kind of see it. It's panning up and down. So that's how it tilts, and then obviously that's how it pans. So I'll show you the motions of the waypoints, and so what we'll do is we'll go to controls, and I'll show you this all in the app, and then we'll do waypoint 1. So if I click on waypoint 1, and it'll scan there for 10 seconds, and then it'll go to next to waypoint 2. Waypoint 2 is this right here. Okay, and then it'll again scan for 10 seconds. And now that wait on each waypoint doesn't seem to be adjustable, so it's every 10 seconds. And then last waypoint that I have, and that monitors the entryway from the garage to the kitchen. So I got 3 waypoints. You can set up to 4, and in this case I only set 3. So, and then it does 10 seconds, and it goes back to the middle one, and then the first waypoint. So that's what this camera does. It has 3 waypoints that it checks. Now, this is what they call the pan scan. So when you have that option on, that's what it does, is it uses your waypoints. But then you can also incorporate motion tracking with that, so that as it's pan scanning, and then if it detects motion, it'll override pan scanning and go to motion, and then the camera will go wherever that motion was detected and detect that motion. So that's kind of neat. So that's a little bit of you guys seeing the camera. So now let me show you the actual app. Okay, so here's the app. You can see I have the Wyze right there. And so what we'll do is we'll turn that on. And currently I have 2 of these cameras, like I said, one set up for the hallway and the other the kitchen. And we'll talk about the kitchen right now. The reason why this one's off is because of my IFTT. I'm within my area, so it's off. For the kitchen, I just turned on the camera. So we'll go ahead and click on the kitchen, and let's see if I can back out of here. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'll try to capture just like the important features. Okay, so you can see right there, see, that's me. The camera is set to my first waypoint, and what that does is it's capturing these windows in case somebody decides to hop the fence and then bust any of these windows, or as it's if somebody comes through this sliding door. If for some reason I'm not capturing them already on my outdoor Nest cams, I do have the second layer security camera, and then the third would be the house alarm. But the second layer of camera, which is the Wyze Cam, on this waypoint, you can see that I got all this area here covered, right? So here, this feature here is if I want to hear sound, you just turn that on, and you'll be able to hear sound. And then here is if you're viewing live and then want to record, that would be the feature. This feature here is speak. If you want to have the two-way communication, if you see something, you want to take a picture of it, you take the photo. So this function here is how you control it. So if I move right, you can see I can move the camera, right? And then I can also tilt down, so that's the lowest it can go. I can also tilt up because it's set, because it's plugged into the almost to the ceiling. The camera is usually mostly pointed down, so that's how you do the pan and tilt. So this controls the pan and tilt. All right, so then we go into the more settings, and in the more settings you'll see the options of how you want to track. So right now I have it under motion tagging, and motion tagging, what it's doing is, let me zoom in here. If I move, you see that box, so it's capturing motion, so it'll frame it with the green box. So that's what motion tagging is. Now you can have that on and have pan scan on. And so when I have pan scan, this is what it does. This is first waypoint. It'll stay there for 10 seconds. Second waypoint, it'll stay there for 10 seconds. And then third waypoint, and this is the entry going this way, would be from the garage to the kitchen. And then it stays there for 10 seconds and it goes back to waypoint 2 and then waypoint 1. So that is called pan scan. Now, if you usually you want these three set up. Motion scanning, as you can see, it tilted down a little bit, but I'll show you an example and hopefully I can grab it. So now I went to waypoint 2. Now if I move, you see how it didn't go to waypoint 3, but it went back to waypoint 1 where the movement was. And so right now you saw the TV. So that's how that motion tracking works. So I find it really neat. So now you guys can get to see how that all works out. So we'll go ahead and turn off those two for now. And so right now we only have where the camera was left off last. Anyways, okay, so we go back to, it has over here in this corner, zoom in a little bit more, you have this little box here labeled HD. So you have standard definition, you have 360, standard definition, and high definition. So in my case, I select high def. And then over in this side here, you have the night vision. Right now it's set to auto, so it automatically turns on night vision at a certain time. You can turn that to always on. You can turn it off, or in my case, I leave it on auto. And in the other menu, the settings menu here is where you want to choose your alert settings. And what I wanted to show you was the advanced settings. And here's the local storage where you get to select SD card, format it and whatnot. But I wanted to put your attention on the motor controls here. And the motor controls, this is where you get to change the rotating speed of the pan. Not the tilt, but the pan. So right now I have it at 5, which is pretty good. Don't know why you'd want it faster. I could understand how some might want it slower, but yeah, 5 is usually good. But pan scan settings is where we go to do your waypoint settings. Okay, so okay, so let's go right about there. So you can see I only have 3 waypoints. So this is waypoint 1, 2, and 3. So waypoint 1, if I click on it, that's the first waypoint that it'll check for. It'll stay there for 10 seconds, then go to waypoint 2, and then waypoint 3. Okay, and then I can add another waypoint, and what you do is you select that box and then adjust using this controls down there. And then once you like where it's set, where you have it placed, you hit set, and then it saves the waypoint in this box. So for this camera, I only have 3, and I only need 3. In my hallway, I think I have 3 as well. I have it pointing to the family room, the stairs, and then the front door. So those are the pretty much the settings that I wanted to focus on. The other settings that you see in alert settings is just setting your sound detection, smoke alarm. So it's got an algorithm that if it hears a smoke alarm or a CO alarm, it'll notify you. And then all these other like alert schedules, I want it to always alert me every day, all day. Sensitivity of motion detection, I leave it at 49. So those are just your standard alert settings that you would have to choose on your own discretion. Going back to advanced settings, on the bottom here you have the night vision. Again, mine's set to auto, and then you can turn on the status of the light. So I have it on right now because it's only an indoor one, but for outdoors I would turn it off, so I don't want no one knowing that I'm recording. But it's a little blue light that you can see, or if you have it off, you can, or if you switch it off, you turn it off. This camera is rotated upside down, so I had to use the rotate image 180. The timestamp watermark, which is great. I don't know why one would want to show the Wyze logo on their image, so I have it off. And then you want to record sound, and then sync time is just so that in case the time on your camera is not the same as on your phone, you hit sync time and it'll sync it through your device. So that's pretty much it on the app side of things on this camera. I believe that's pretty much what I wanted to show you. So we'll go back to the box perspective. Okay, so yeah, I didn't go in depth of you know how to set it up and go through all the menus and features. I just wanted to point out the biggest features that I used, and probably what most of the people would use in this camera. If I missed anything, you want to know a specific thing, let me know in the comments below, and I'll do a specific video on that depending on how much traction that specific subject is, and I'll do it. If you have any questions, this camera versus the Nest, let me know it once again, and I'll speak on that. Don't get me wrong, I love the Nest. I still run it for my outdoor. I will not replace the Nest for this on the outdoor. Now, that's not to say that this company comes out with a outdoor cam. I try it, I like it. It might replace it. I mean, why would I want to pay Nest a cloud storage when I can have it, locally. So, and then it only pay 35, 36, depending on what the outdoor cameras will be. Hopefully under 100. This is what makes this Wyze Cam so attractive, is that the price, the ability to pan, tilt. I didn't touch on zoom. You can zoom. It's a digital zoom. So in the while you're viewing it live, you can just do a pinch, pinch out to zoom, pinch in to zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. So you can zoom. If I'm missing anything, again, let me know in the comments. I just wanted to try to make this video quick, just showing you a different option out there. I truly think that this Wyze Cam is going to be a very big contender in the security camera, just being on the much more affordable side of things. 1080p is a great start. I mean, Nest started with that. I'm pretty sure the next iteration of this camera will be 4K. It's just a matter of time. So 1080p for the indoor is perfect. For outdoor, you might want 4K. I'm actually running the first gen outdoor ones, and I believe they're only 1080, and they work damn good. So anyways, again, let me know. Hope you guys found this informative. If you were on the fence, or if you weren't on the fence and were looking for something cheap and not have to pay cloud storage, definitely highly recommend the Wyze Cams. All right, guys, have a good one. See ya.